Welcome to Elimu Television. This is a series of programs aired on our television, educational programs for the secondary school level. This is CRE Form 1. For confirmation that you are attending our classes, please send an SMS to 21450. For your attendance in class, please SMS 21450 for CRE Form 1. Welcome. In our previous lesson, we looked at the second creation account, and we read the Bible from Genesis chapter 2, starting from verse 4b to verse 25. And we looked at how the universe was created from the second creation account, which we said is mainly man-centered. We looked at the creation of heaven and earth. We looked at the creation of man out of dust. We looked at the creation of beasts from the ground. We looked at the creation of the woman from man's lip. We also looked at the trees that were found in the garden. There was a planting of the Garden of Eden, and all the trees that gave man food and that were beautiful on man's sight. We also looked at the creation of the woman to be a helper to the man. And we talked about the responsibilities given to man at creation. For example, to name the animals, to procreate and fill the earth, to have dominion over, and so many other responsibilities given to man from both the first and second creation accounts. We also looked at some provisions given to man at creation. For example, food that was coming from the trees that were found in the Garden of Eden, the breath of life, the Garden of Eden that provided man with shelter. We looked at the water from the 4 rivers. I hope you remember the name of the 4 rivers. We also looked at the minerals, the gold, the wealth given to man at creation. We looked at the dominion over, or the authority given to man. We looked at the helper, the companion, Eve, who was given to Adam as his companion, and other provisions given to man at creation. In today's lesson, we are going to look at the similarities and differences between the first and the second creation accounts. Now, when you are answering questions of similarities, always remember to start with the words in both. The minute you start with in both, you show that there is a similarity. If you don't start your statement or your sentence on questions of similarity with in both, then it means you have not shown the similarity. Please do remember to start your answers when answering questions of similarities with the words in both. Now we start with the similarities. Now, in both the first and second creation account, God is seen to be the sole creator of the universe and everything in it. God is in both the first and second creation accounts. God is seen to be the creator of the universe and everything in it. Number 2, second similarity. In both, creation involves both living and non-living things. In both the first and second creation accounts, creation involves both living and non-living things. We have looked at living things like human beings. We have looked at plants and animals, non-living things including water and so on. Thirdly, in both the first and second creation accounts, human beings are special creatures with special responsibilities. In both the first and second creation accounts, human beings are special creatures with special responsibilities. For example, we have already seen man given the responsibility to take charge or to take care of the rest of the creation. He's supposed to procreate, bring forth, and take care of the universe. In other words, in both the first and second creation accounts, man is the climax of God's creation. Out of all the other things that God created, man is the most superior being. He's the climax of God's creation. Now, point number 4, the fourth similarity between the first and second creation accounts is that in both, God creates a helper or a companion for man. In both the first and second creation accounts, God creates a helper or a companion for man. Point number 5, in both, God ordained or instituted marriage. God ordained or instituted marriage. That means it is God's will that marriage is found among human beings. Marriage is willed by God. Number 6, in both, God provides for the needs of man. In other words, God is the provider or the sustainer of man. We have seen in the first creation account, animals were created, plants were created to provide for the needs of man like food. The same case with the second creation account. The Garden of Eden had all fruit-bearing trees. They were supposed to provide man with food. The 4 rivers, Pishon, Gihon, Tigris, and Euphrates, were to provide water for man and also wealth. Point number 7, in both, human beings are given regulations to follow. In every human society, there are laws to be followed. There are rules and regulations. Like for the first creation account, man is commanded to be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. He is also required to rest and worship God on the Sabbath day, the 7th day. In the second creation account, man is given the rule of not eating from the tree that was planted in the middle of the garden, the tree that gives the knowledge of what is good and what is evil. He is also told to name the animals. Number 8, in both the first and second creation account, creation is anthropocentric. Creation in both first and second creation accounts or stories, creation is said to be anthropocentric. That means it is centered on man. Creation is centered on man or man-centered. Yes, whatever God was doing was meant for man's use. If he's creating the non-living things for man's use, plants and animals for man's use. Number 9, in both, whatever God created was good. That is why we normally say we are wonderfully and fearfully made in God's image, because whatever God created in both creation stories was good. Number 10, in both first and second creation stories or accounts, man is in charge or the master of all that is found in the universe. Man is the master of all that is found in the universe. He is supposed to take control, subdue, or have dominion over the universe. And we also see man being given the opportunity by God to help him in naming the created beasts or animals. That means he is in charge of all what God created. He's supposed to have dominion and subdue the universe, control the universe on behalf of God. That is what we mean by man being a co-creator with God. When God created, he gave man the chance or the opportunity to name the animals. And that means man plays a central role in God's creation. That is what it means by being a co-creator. That whatever God created, he means that man should sustain it, make use of it, but at the same time, ensuring that the creation have its survival. Those are the similarities, and now let us look at the differences between the first and the second creation accounts, and we have many of them. One, in the first creation account, There is the mentioning of the light, moon, and stars. There is also mentioning of fish and other creatures, but these are omitted in the second creation account. In the first creation account, there is a mentioning of the light, the moon, and the stars. We also have the mentioning of the fish and other creatures, and these are omitted or are not there in the second creation account. Now, first of all, when you are answering questions or on differences, you must make use of statements. Do not draw charts. When you're answering questions of differences or even similarities, don't draw charts. Instead, use statements or sentences. Now, when you're answering questions on differences, bring your two ideas with the words but, while as, or whereas. We don't have charts in CRE. Charts are in other subjects like mathematics and physics. In CRE, we'll use statements. The second difference between the two creation accounts, number 2, there is a mentioning of the Garden of Eden in the second creation account, and this is omitted in the first creation account. There is a mentioning of the Garden of Eden in the second creation account, and this is omitted in the first creation account. 3, the first creation account is orderly. There is an order, specifically what was created on each day. The orderliness is also seen, which reflects the orderliness of God in that he created the waters below. The waters below are found on the earth that day, and he could not create the fish before the waters were in place. And that is why the fish and the sea creatures are created on the 5th day, when the water was already in place on that day. So the first creation account is orderly. That is what is done on each day, while in the second creation account, this order is missing. Point number 4, the fourth difference. In the first creation account, God created man and woman at the same time and in his own image and likeness. While in the second creation account, man is created first and out of dust, and then God creates the woman out of man's rib. I repeat point number 4. In the first creation account, God created man and woman at the same time and in his own image and likeness. While in the second creation account, man is created first and out of dust, and then the woman out of man's rib. The fifth difference, the tree of knowledge of what is good and evil, which was planted in the middle of the Garden of Eden in the east, is mentioned in the second creation account, but omitted in the first creation account. The tree of knowledge of what is good and evil, planted in the middle of the Garden of Eden, is mentioned in the second creation account, but it is missing in the first creation account. Point number 6. In the first creation account, marriage is for procreation, whereas, but, in the second creation account, marriage is for partnership or companionship. In the first creation account, marriage is for procreation, whereas in the second creation account, marriage is for partnership or companionship. Point number 7, in the first creation account, God appreciates what he created as good. Every day he would create, evening passed and morning came, and that was maybe the first day, and he was pleased with what he saw. So that is why we are saying, in the first creation account, God appreciates what he created as good, while this is omitted or is not there in the second creation account. Point number 8, in the first creation account, creation is out of nothing, what we refer to as ex nihilo, creation out of nothing. The first creation account is out of nothing, in brackets, ex nihilo, while in the second creation account, creation is out of a substance. For example, woman was made from man's rib, man is made out of dust, and the beasts are made out of ground. Point number 9, in the first creation account, the superiority of man is seen because he is to subdue the earth and bring it under his control. While in the second creation account, the superiority of man is seen in that he is told to name the animals. In the first creation account, the superiority of man is seen in that he is told to have dominion, subdue, and take control of the universe. While in the second creation account, the superiority of man is seen when God gives him the opportunity to name the animals. Now, point number 10, in the first account, man is to refrain from work on the Sabbath. He's not supposed to do any work on the Sabbath. It's a day that is set aside for rest and worship. While in the second creation account, he is to refrain from eating from the tree in the middle of the Garden of Eden, the tree that gives the knowledge of what is good and evil. We said the minute he will eat from that tree, the consequence is that he will die. Again, the last point, in the first creation account, God involved the members of the Holy Trinity. God the Father was there saying the word. The Holy Spirit moved over the waters or hovered over the waters, and the word was Jesus. And that is how the Holy Trinity is involved in the first creation account. Whereas in the second creation account, we only see God the Father doing the work. Now, what we learn about God, about his nature, his attributes, his features and characteristics from the first creation account, we can easily say the following as we conclude. God is holy. God is good and perfect. We learn that from the creation accounts. God is a diligent worker. He is a skilled craftsman, a cleaver, and a molder. He's a God of order. He is all-powerful, all-omnipotent. He's also omniscient. From the word science, omnipotent means he's all-powerful. Omniscient means he's all-knowing, because it comes from the word science, which have to do with knowledge. He's also omnipresent, meaning he is present everywhere. He's the provider and the sustainer of man and his creation. He is a spirit, meaning he cannot be seen, although he's powerful. He's the source of all goodness. He is a moral God. He is self-existent. Where everything else was created, God was there initially. He's self-existent. And of course, he is the sole creator. Now for your homework, I want you to give 4 differences and 4 similarities between the first and the second creation accounts. I also want you to give 8 attributes of God from the creation accounts. We have learned so many attributes of God, so at least give 8 attributes. I've said attributes are his nature, his characteristics, his features. How can you describe God? In 8 ways. Now that brings us to the end of our lesson today. Now for fingertips on CRE Form 1, for questions and comments, please send us an SMS, CRE Form 1, on SMS number 21126. Thank you for listening.